have the privilege of serving as your city manager. Your presence here tonight shows that you are an involved citizen who cares deeply about our city. We are gathered this evening to hear Honorable Mayor Edna Jackson issue the annual State of the City address, and my job tonight is to only listen. First, I would ask you to rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In a moment, you will be hearing from Mayor Jackson, but first, we offer a brief video highlighting activity for the City of Savannah 2014.
They'd say you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. As we start making plans for the new year, now is the perfect time to reflect back on the busy 12 months that were 2014. In many ways, Savannah soared in 2014. It was a year we partnered with local businessman O.C. Welch to restore our Bacon Park Municipal Golf Course to its former glory, ensuring that the sport of golf remains within reach of all Savannans. We also ensured our coastal waterways remained accessible to all Savannans with the opening of the Coffee Bluff Marina in July. Our actions not only created Savannah's first public marina, but stopped plans for a private condo development that would have forever blocked public access to the beautiful Forest River. We opened new playgrounds in Liberty City and Fowler Park to increase access to play for our children, and we partnered with Healthy Savannah and Step Up Savannah on exciting initiatives that are targeting childhood obesity and increasing access to health care. We launched a new initiative that turned vacant lots into vibrant community gardens in neighborhoods like the Victorian District, Midtown, and Wilshire Estates. We finished one project that will correct long-time flooding issues in Baldwin Park, and we began another project that will eliminate flooding and open up development on the busy President Street extension. Through our history, Savannah's greatest achievement have resulted from careful, visionary planning. In 2014, Council was proud to launch two new plans. The $20 million Cultural Arts Center at Oglethorpe and M.L. King will be a state-of-the-art facility that will serve as a new hub for art in Savannah. And our plan for the Canal District on the western edge of downtown with a $125 million arena, it will serve as the center for growth downtown. Our tourist economy broke records last year, contributing $2.3 billion to the local economy. New hotels went up, and two landmark projects totaling more than $350 million in investment were announced on the east and west ends of River Street, promising to transform our waterfront. Broughton Street and M.L. King Boulevard are seeing more investment activities today than they have in 50 years. But I was not satisfied. The city was doing everything we could to make the best place to do business in America. So I created a business roundtable and asked key business leaders to tell us how we could do better. They helped us streamline our flowchart, put more of our services online, and reduce the number of steps needed to open a new business. Businessman Greg Parker showed us how customer service techniques he uses at his gas stations could be deployed in city facilities. In the fall, we created a new position whose sole focus is to improve customer service in our organization. We understood that the last thing Savannah needed, as the economy was just taking off, were higher taxes. So I'm proud to report that our property tax rate today is the lowest it has been since 1987. Our water and sewer rates today are the second lowest in Georgia. 2014 was a year we truly began focusing on giving our youth the tools they needed to succeed as adults. We hosted Choices Youth Summit, a community conversation on after-school programs. And we joined with hundreds of community leaders doing a call of action on young black males. We spent the year training youth ambassadors to be leaders and complete projects to improve their neighborhoods. We unveiled our Blight to Bright campaign last year to target persistent property maintenance problems with new enforcement tools. We set out to educate the public, crack down on illegal yard parking, to unveil our third 100 worst properties list to focus on the worst of the worst property owners. Of course, last year also saw significant turmoil in our police department as we addressed problems that had been ignored for decades. We hired Chief Lumpkin to restore confidence in the department, fill vacancies, and tackle gun violence head on. As last year's Georgia Police Chief of the Year, he is up to this task and thus far has made all the right moves. Our fire department is moving in the right direction too. Last year, Savannah's fire department received the highest fire rating possible, one of only 62 departments in the nation to achieve an ISO Class 1 rating. This rating upgrade is a testament to the preparedness of our firefighters And it also means lower insurance rates for our homeowners. Check with your insurance companies. Savannah had our challenges in 2014, but it is important to remember that we also accomplished so much. As mayor and members of City Council, we welcome the promise of a new year, and we thank you for making Savannah your home.
Good evening. I'm sitting here listening at my own voice, right? And I had to laugh somewhat because, as y'all know, I went through some very trying times with my voice. During the Christmas holidays, I couldn't talk. And that's very difficult for me. And so I'm always trying to, and I hope that the therapist is listening to me tonight, because my voice is coming back, but they're having to try and retrain. Have y'all ever heard of anyone, what did I tell you was wrong with my voice? What did I tell you? I have fractured. How many people have heard of fracturing your vocal cords? Oh, okay. I'd never heard of it. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us this evening. Before I get accused of sticking my head in the sand, let me give you a spoiler. This speech will be about public safety. But before I get to do that, I'm going to take a personal privilege and recognize members of the Chatham County Commission. I'm going to ask if you stand and let me thank you for coming. Members of the school board, will you please rise and let me see you? I know y'all, thank you very much for coming, because it is about a team effort and all of us working together. Anybody else I need to recognize? Let me also recognize the judges that are here this evening. Will you please stand and be recognized? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, you know, I was as outraged as anyone when a couple from Florida lied about being targeted in an attack on Bay Street last week. But that false claim should not distract us from the main truth. We have a crime problem in Savannah. We put together a video you just saw to remind everyone that there is a lot of great things happening in Savannah too. Flooding is down. Taxes are low. The economy is up. We have seen more commercial investment the past 2 years than at any point in our history. In many ways, the state of the city has never been better. But none of that matters when our young people are shooting each other on our streets. For those who have chosen, who has suddenly awakened to this gun violence and are demanding answers, I say welcome to the conversation. You want quick solutions, and I'm sorry to tell you that you won't get it as an easy answer tonight, because easy answers won't fix this problem. Generations of children have grown up watching the casual use of weapons in their neighborhood. Last month, two teenagers were handling a loaded gun on the front steps of an apartment on West 54th Street. One of the boys slipped and shot his friend in the head. He was just 15. These kids grow up watching their parents handle guns, their friends handle guns, and their brothers and their sisters handling guns. It is no wonder that they grow up using guns to solve their problems and, as they say, to earn respect. Changing this culture of violence will not be easy because, as I mentioned, it has been around for a while now. We had exactly as many shootings in 2014 as we did in 2009. Savannah had about half as many violent crimes last year as we did 20 years ago. And that's nothing for us to be proud of. 3 shootings a week is nothing for us to be proud of. 1 shooting a week or a day is nothing to be proud of. We should be angry. Still, I've heard some people who should know better claim that crime in Savannah is at an all-time high. These are people who were here when the Ricky Givens gang terrorized our streets. Back then, 14,000 Part 1 crimes were committed in Savannah annually. Last year, we saw fewer than 8,000 crimes. That's still too many. Let's try and work and get that number down to less than 1,000. I mentioned this not to minimize our crime problem of today, because we do have it. It is because if we're going to finally get serious about violent crimes in Savannah, we must start getting real. And that means understanding how much crime and what kind of crime is happening in our community. We don't have a crack cocaine wall on our streets today like we did in the 90s. Ricky Givens soldiers are not gunning down family men for sports. What we do have is persistence, generational crime reoccurring in the same neighborhoods, the same families, year after year. What we have are teenagers shooting each other over drugs, money, and disrespect. It is the I will do you before you do me mentality. While I mourn the death of the 32 and now 33 Savannah's homicide victims last year and now this year, I must acknowledge the vast majority of these young men, and almost all of them, chose a lifestyle that put them in harm's way. But in robbery, some are doing it because they can. What keeps me up at night is a consistent threat of gunfire every neighborhood must endure, and the innocent children unlucky enough to live with these criminals. All neighborhoods, my neighborhoods, your neighborhoods. The darkest day of my tenure came in November when a 2-year-old, the young lady by the name of Smalls, was gunned down while sleeping. The bullet that night were targeting someone else in the home. But as we all know, bullets have no eyes. So what do you do about this problem? We start with police. Last year was among the most trying time in our police department's history. It was a year our city manager called in outside investigators to look into allegations against our police and ordered the investigators to leave no stones unturned. The city manager told the public that it was going to be a painful process, and it was, but one that was critical to the future health of our department. She pledged openness, accountability, and transparency. And as we all witnessed, that is exactly what we got. The easy thing to do, and you can give her a hand, because she did that. The easy thing to do would have been to keep these persistent problems swept under the rug. Instead, we took action. There have been questions raised about the pension of our former police chief. Let me be clear. We are governed by state law and are obligated to follow state law. Several other police officers who had no business wearing the badge left the force in 2014. And to them I say, good riddance. Unfortunately, we lost a number of good officers as well. Some left police work entirely. With all that went, I can't say I blame them. I credit Assistant Chief Talbert and Terry Enoch for holding the force together during these difficult months. Stand up. They were the rock. And I can't thank them enough on behalf of this council and the citizens of this community for what they did. Those officers who stuck with them in spite of what happened deserves gratitude from the entire community. Many of those officers are here this evening. If you don't do but one thing that I ask you to do, that is to reach out to our policemen and women and say thank you to them, to keep up the good work, pat them on the shoulder, because it's not easy out here, y'all. And folks, we've got some really great officers. Where are the officers? Over here. Saw some over here. Fire is over here. They place themselves in harm's way, work through the night to solve cases, put in the extra hours to forge relationships in neighborhood association. That is what Savannah is all about. In the busy Central Precinct, Captain Adams is bringing our police officers closer to our residents by holding neighborhood toy drives during Christmas and introducing programs such as roll call in the streets and all hands on deck. And that meant that during the summer holidays, the summertime, these men and women gave up their time to talk and work with our youth in the neighborhood. So we are thankful for them and for the other precincts for all that they do that you may not hear about. West Chatham Precinct Crime Prevention Officer Brian Harwell, and please forgive me with my voice, has used his unique background as a former business owner to win the trust of shop owners and convince senior citizens to report crimes. Proactive officers like him are the reason we saw commercial burglaries drop 30% across the community last year. Officer Brian. There are officers such as Chris Tucker, Nicholas Wisner, both former Army soldiers who now put their combat experience to good use on our SWAT team in D.C. as they moved into a volatile crime scene. They saved the life of the victim. The life of the victim with plastic bags and duct tape. Now, are they here? Will you please be recognized? There are leaders such as Lieutenant Racine Cheney, a 34-year veteran who continues to bust his tail every day as the head of our violent crime division, and Lieutenant Famble, who has, as leader of the Savannah Impact Program, has had great success steering at-risk juvenile offenders away from the life of crime. Stand if you're here and be recognized. Officers such as these are the ones who have the true impact on the violent crime in our community. Our officers, can you all stand, because it may be one, but without all of the officers being there to support their efforts, they would not be able to do what they're doing. Let us recognize all officers. Please. You see, these are our heroes that are on the front line as elected leaders. There are some things we can do to help our officers on the front line. Tonight, I offer a 5-step plan to reduce violent crime in Savannah. Step 1 was bringing in the new police chief. I consider November 10th, the day we made Jack Lumpkin our chief, to be one day of the new Metro Police Department. Chief, stand up. Thank you. And I want y'all to know that the mayor of Athens was here on Monday, and even though she was here for Rotary, I don't know if she tried to put a little bug in his ear to try and get him to come back to Athens. But he's ours now. And we want you to know that we appreciate you. And folks, I've seen more integrity and leadership come from this one man that I've seen in my previous 14 years of a public servant. He is the right man for the job. Chief, we're with you. We stand with you. We have your front, back, and your sides. Thank you. Step 2 is fully staffing our department with law enforcement professionals. And if you have heard Chief Lumpkin, you will know this is one thing that he's advocating here in our community. We're about 70 officers right now down on the force of 605 officers. That's about the national average. But I don't care about the national average. I'm here to tell you that 70 vacancies is unacceptable in Savannah. We need a stronger police presence on our streets, and we need to give our existing officers a break. That's why we need you. We need you to help and tell the people that we're looking for people to apply. Chief, with integrity, am I correct? Character. character, and competence. Send them on down. Filling these vacancies is not easy. We require clean records, credit checks, as well as psychological and physical evaluations. Police Academy takes 4 months. This City Council is supportive of the City Manager's plan to conduct a review of hiring procedures to ensure that they are as streamlined and aggressive as possible. We have reached out to local marketing professionals to help us develop a new recruiting campaign. We are targeting locals as well as third ID soldiers who are returning home from deployment. They make great police officers. But it is not enough to recruit new officers. We must be better at keeping good officers. Chief Lumpkin is looking at everything from officer scheduling to our rank structure to leadership training as a way to increase retention. We're currently conducting a salary and classification study to help us adjust our pay scale. When that is realized this summer, I'm going to put something on the council now. I will be in favor of making adjustments in the police pay immediately after, rather than waiting until the end of the year. And I am sure, see, I know this council. So can I speak for y'all? Yes. Thank you. I didn't hear, I heard one. We're currently conducting a salary and classified study to help us adjust our pay scale. And of course, as I said, once this is over, we will make sure what needs to be done will be done. We have pay issues across the city organization that need to be addressed. And I can tell you that the city manager is working very diligently with her staff to make sure that she brings all of that in line. 7 years ago, the city council made a decision to make our police officers starting pay the highest of any department in the Southeast. We did that. We explored it. We did it. So we're going to explore it again to make sure that we are the leader. Step 3. In addressing violent crime is implementing new initiatives that target violent crime. We have signed a contract with policing expert David Kennedy, and I'm sure, Rule, you are proud about this, and the members that are assisting us in the downtown businesses, to help us develop a violent reduction model that has shown great success in other communities. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. His work did so well in driving down youth violence in Boston that it's referred to as the Boston Miracle. We're calling it Operation Ceasefire in Savannah. The strategy is to focus on a few key neighborhoods with persistent violent crimes. You know who those neighborhoods are. Then we bring together research, local data, law enforcement, nonprofits, residents, and other areas to target this violence. Group violence is just a fancy name for gangs. And yes, we have gangs in Savannah. In Boston, David Kennedy helped foster new dramatics within gangs that reduce violence and gave gang members an honorable exit from street life. I can't wait to see this program work here in the city of Savannah. Step 4 is focus on technology. Good technology allows for smarter deployment of troops. This frees officers up to walk the beat. What did I say? To walk the beat, visit the business, talk to the neighbors. This frees officers up to walk the beat. Y'all have to do call and response now. Visit the businesses and talk to the neighbors. In the past few months, this city council has approved new technology that detects and pinpoint gunshots across Savannah. We purchased body cameras, tasers, and all of our officers to help protect both the officer and our citizens. In December, we became one of the only two police departments in the Southeast to receive a sophisticated machine that can analyze shell casings and make connections between crimes. Today, our patrol cars come equipped with powerful data terminals that allow our officers to remain within their beat nearly an entire shift, thanks to voters, you as voters. During the last SPLOS vote, we now have funds to begin expanding our surveillance camera network, adding to the 160 cameras we now have in the field. One of the greatest benefits of the combined city and county police department is the creation of a regional intelligence center, analyze large volumes of data, identify crime trends, and help us deploy resources. Shared intelligence is just one of the ways that Savannah Chatham Metropolitan Police is improving public safety in our community. Tonight, I call on the county commissioners to do the right thing to save this merger. The city has compromised on almost everything the county has asked for, but we simply cannot agree to their insistence that we handcuff our officers and prevent them from crossing the city-county line. Giving the chief that flexibility is the very cornerstone of police merger. In fact, since the merger of the city and county police, crime in the unincorporated area has been cut in half. I have yet to hear a single law enforcement professional say that the county proposal will increase public safety. It is planned that only politicians would support. This city council calls on the county to join us in mediation. I want to remind our commissioners that Savannah is a part of the county. We're all in this boat together, and we must try everything within our power to do what is right. Because if this ship sinks, we all sink together. Step 5, in addressing violent crime is a tough one. It's all of the things that have nothing to do with police. It's about better education, better jobs, better job training. It's about driving down the 25% poverty rate we've had since the recession. It is about working with our parents to change the culture of violence in our community. That is what is truly going to make Savannah safer, and that is going to take this entire community working together. We must stop asking what I, as mayor, the city council, county commission, Chief Lumpkin, superintendent of schools, city manager are going to do. It takes all of us to change the culture. And we are asking you to be a part of all of that. And I, for one, am ready for this violence to end. And I'm going to take a personal reference here. If there is one thing that I have not been pleased with my administration, is the violence that is in this community. We can do better than that. And we are going to do better than that. Can I depend on you? Can I depend on you? Because we want to spend more time, and you see when we do that, the council is ready to end all of this violence because we want to spend more time talking about developing municipal broadband network to provide super high speed internet access for our business and residents. We want to talk about turning Savannah into a location of choice in the Southeast for high-tech startups. We want to talk about how we can create more jobs. We want to do whatever we can to continue to be the business-friendly community, the top one in the United States. We want to figure out how we can hold on to these talented SCAD, Savannah State, Armstrong, Savannah Tech students after they graduate and help them to start up their businesses so they won't move to Atlanta. And we want to be known as the place that if a criminal think they are going to come in this community, that we will run them out, catch them before they get them, and send them back to where they're coming from. As we witness on the video we all just saw, Savannah is doing so many great things. We're on every publication, top 10 list this, top 10 list that. But none of that matters when kids and teenagers are killing each other in our streets. And none of this matters when the rest of us don't feel safe walking outside at night. None of it matters that we have to lock up in our houses and we are afraid, and our senior citizens are afraid to come out. It's time for things to change in Savannah. It's time for people living on the island to stop fooling themselves that in the inner city is not the only problems, that there are also problems in the outer areas as well. That is why our police department must continue in a unified way until one of us is safe and feels safe. Unless all of us are safe and feel safe, then we still have a problem. And now it is time for all of us to work on change. I want to thank those people. And it's not in my speech, but I want to thank the people who have risen to the occasion, that have come and said to us, we want to be involved. There are the churches, the neighborhood groups, the independent clubs and organizations. Thank you. I wish I could put a list of everybody up on the wall. We need you. We are no greater than all of you helping. But now I don't want you to stop there. I want you to continue. Ring my phone. Sharonte will take all the messages, and we'll write it down and put you in the right place. But let us make that first step into this journey that we are continuing as a united Savannah, I want to depend on you. Thank you for all the support that you have given this council. Thank you for joining us here this evening, and may God continue to bless us, bless you, and bless our city. Thank you so much. I see it. At this time, if you will give me just a minute, I'm going to ask Chief Lumpkin if you will come to the podium and address this issue for me. You want to address that? I know it. Oh, I am. You know, I see a child's coffin to my right. It represents children that have been shot unnecessarily. And I can assure you, as I have addressed in my speech tonight, that we're going to continue to fight to not see this continue in our community. A first right amendment is always in place. So I want the young people that are here, believe me, your voice is being heard as all residents of this community are being heard. Thank you very much, and good evening. Let me introduce y'all. I didn't do that. You know, I cannot leave without introducing the members of our city council that are here this day. Alderman Shabazz, Dr. Estella Shabazz, Alderman John Hall, Shabazz from the 5th, John from the 3rd, Mary Ellen Sprague from the 4th, Van Johnson from the 1st, Tom Bordeaux, Alderman at Large, 2nd, Alderman Carabell. I'm sorry, I received a message. I received the message earlier today that Alderman Tony Thomas and Alderman Mary Osmond would not be here this evening. Continue to pray for us, y'all, because we are no better than you are. Thank you very much. Oh. I'm going to ask if you will stand and let's have another moment of silent prayer. And I'm going to ask Van to give us a word of prayer. Be ye ever ready.
I guess part of being Mayor Pro Tem is to be also ready. Let us bow our heads and let us join hands as a united Savannah. To the God that we know by many names, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for our city. And we ask your divine presence and intervention as we continue to work and make our community a better place. We ask for your direction because we know all good direction comes from you. We ask for your comfort for those who have been victimized, and we ask for your comfort for those that are hurt and those that have been locked down, locked out of our society. We ask for you to protect our children, protect those that are careless and unconcerned. And Lord, we ask also that you bless our neighborhoods, our citizens one by one. Continue to hold our mayor up. Continue to give her the strength and the guidance she needs. We ask that you bless our city manager, our police, our fire, those who give their lives and offer their lives every day in your service. We ask that you protect them and you shield them. And when you do all of these things, and Savannah is the city we know that it will be, we will say that you did it. We didn't do it by ourselves. And we will thank you. We will continue to praise you. And all of these things we ask in your name. Can someone say amen? Amen. And good night.